Welcome to another movie plot and enjoy the memories. We open with a unit of German soldiers arriving at a small village at the foot of the Carpathian Mountains. The year is 1941 and Captain Klaus's mission is to secure the pass for the Deutschland, so he's chosen here for their base of operations. Word reached commanders in Berlin that it backdrops some mysterious stone fortress called the Keep. But now that he's up close, Klaus notices some curious features of his new Romanian home. Though surrounded by a chasm for a moat, the outside walls slope inward so an army of mountain goats could easily scale it. Stranger still is the 108 nickel crosses embedded in the walls that caretaker Alex and his family have spit-shined for generations. He says that nobody knows when it was built and warns Klaus that everybody who's tried to stay inside it at night is driven mad. While ignoring that, Klaus notices that only the inner walls are constructed of large granite rocks while the outside is just small pieces of slate. The keep appears to be put together backwards with a large inside chamber containing no entry point, so many theorize that it contains a treasure. Especially Private Lutz, who attempts to steal one of the crosses thinking that it's silver, but Klaus tells him to go play with his crayons. On their first night, Lutz and Anton are on watch when the former goes searching around and discovers one of the crosses is made of silver after all. He goes and gets his buddy to help him commit a casual war crime, but the loose stone that it's attached to begins to shift. Thinking there might be more treasure hidden behind it, Lutz ties a line to his feet and has Tony lower him into the shaft. It connects to a massive empty vault that goes deep underground, where at the bottom lights form over some ancient ruins. Suddenly it flies up to the nosy intruder, almost pulling Anton inside and leaving Lutz half the man that he was. Now that Alok's removed, the entity escapes the containment cube and obliterates Anton while absorbing his delicious life force. At the same time, it escapes an immortal on the other side of the Mediterranean, awakens and puts away his special pull. The ridiculously named Glaeken Trismegestus is a 500-year-old warrior of God but still needs to charter a boat.
Glaeken Trismegestus.
He sails to Romania, where over the next few nights even more soldiers turn up dead, so Klaus puts in a request to get the hell out. Instead, he gets reinforcements as a battalion of SS led by Major Kaempffer come rolling into the villa and relieve the captain of command. He rounds up and executes 3 random villagers and threatens to do it again for every German soldier who turns up dead. Kaempffer believes that communist sympathizers are preying on their soldiers at night, but Klaus argues that these are good people who've only helped. That does nothing to change this loser's mind, and the next time a body turns up dead, it's accompanied by a message. One of the Romanian hostages, Mihail, is brought in to translate, but the priest doesn't understand the ancient dialect. He knows a medieval historian who might be able to help, but he's Jewish, so is currently on his way to the ovens. Avoiding them for now, Dr. Theodore is taken to the keep and translates "I will be free," but it's written in a dead language that hasn't been used in 5 centuries. Teddy and his daughter Eva are then put up in a room and told by Klaus that if they cooperate he might be able to smuggle them to safety. When he leaves, the priest reveals his own plan to get his friend to safety, but we learn that Ted is sick and only has a few weeks to live. Eva retrieves some food from the German barracks, but when she returns, 2 soldiers attempt to give her a good sig heiling. They soon come face to face with the entity when it saves the girl by making both her attackers' heads explode like balloons. With every passing death, the creature called Molasar gradually forms a body of dense smoke with visible red eyes and a brain. It carries the unconscious Eva to her father, where it knows that because Theodore's Jewish he can be allied against the soldiers. Molasar then smacks the crap out of him and leaves, but in the morning both wake and find that the creature's restored him to good health. Teddy wants to align himself with the creature who Eva calls the devil, but Ted says that the real devils are wearing the black coats. Klaus collects Eva to stay at the village's hotel, so her father tells her to forget about him and make her escape when she can. He gives Klaus a silver cross since he can tell he's not like the other fascists, and lets her leave the keep for her own protection. When Glaeken arrives in the country, he's allowed to pass through checkpoints unhindered simply because he terrifies these locals. Eva reaches the inn that she'll be staying at, but Glaeken has already rented a room and shown to cast no reflection like a vampire. With barely any dialogue shared between these two, they're in a relationship within the day and performing tandem yoga. Meanwhile, the father who sent his daughter away to get shagged by an immortal can now walk and seeks out Molasar to align himself. Now a large sinewy pile of muscles straight out of the Power Rangers, the entity claims to have only 2 days until it reaches its final form.
I will destroy them!
It can smell death on Ted from the concentration camps and seems genuinely angry that humans are slaughtering Romanians. To kill the Germans outside of the keep, Teddy must first take a talisman and hide it in the mountains, which Molasar says is its source of power. He tries to let the father in on the plan, but when he sees that he's walking again, Mihail just shouts "monster" and runs away. Being sent completely crazy and bleeding from his face, Eva's like, "Nah, this priest is a lost cause," and goes to get her father. He's introduced to Glaeken, who says the talisman is actually to contain the demon and removing it would unleash it upon the world. Theodore feels indebted to Molasar, but also thinks that it would be the lesser of 2 evils considering he's a Jew living in the 40s. Glaeken says that it chose Ted because it needs someone uncorrupted to even get near the talisman which he buried there himself. Now he must do it all over again, which he says will also destroy himself, making Ava angry that she even wasted time on their relationship. Unfortunately, her dad goes and rats out the stranger to protect the monster of the keep, so a group of Kaempffer soldiers are sent to retrieve him. Before they can bring him back, one of them strikes Ava, so Glaeken tosses him into the moat, which is an insta-death. In a bit of an overreaction, the soldiers shoot him off the edge of the ravine, but just because Glaeken bleeds doesn't mean he can be killed. Inside the keep, Klaus has begun to voice his dissatisfaction for Kaempffer's crimes against the innocent civilians. He blames the regime for bringing the monster, saying that it's a reflection of their evil, when suddenly hearing screams coming from outside. When Klaus grabs his cross for protection, the major shoots him in the back, murdering his own comrade and taking it for himself. His entire garrison of SS troops has been deep-fried extra crispy by Molasar, and all of their vehicles have been disabled. The being is now completely formed, and whether the crucifix worked before the makeover doesn't matter because now it's useless. The non-vampire immortal just tosses the cross away and drains Major Kaempffer's life force without needing a drop of blood. It drags his corpse down into the bowels of the keep, where Ted's removing the buried talisman that Molly can't even look at. Without any soldiers left, Theodore is able to run it straight out of the keep unimpeded until reaching Ava at the front door. She attempts to talk him out of it, and Ted almost kills his own daughter when ordered, but refrained because that would be messed up. He refuses Molasar's command to dispose of the talisman and tells the giant being to do it himself if it's really his. In response to the betrayal, Ted gets an energy ball to the face, returning him to his old diseased self, unable to walk again. Just before the demon can finish him off, Glaeken crawls his holy behind out of the ravine and retrieves his glowy stick. It attaches to the end of the talisman, which turns out to be the ornate head of this wizard's staff that Glaeken uses to contain Molasar. He forces it into the inner chamber, then tells Ava to get her father out before using another concentrated blast of this magic stuff. It blows Molly through the holy that he was let out of, while Glaeken loses his eyebrows and goes blind. He then turns to look in the teary-eyed Ava's general direction before being used to block the hole up like a human cork. With the entity contained and the priest no longer insane, the village is right back to the way it started. And the movie ends.